Hey everyone, weekly update video for the 14th of February. This one will be very short. There's nothing particular that happened this week with TFM, although I would just like to say that it's been spoken about the SimBrief integration. So some talk about how that's going to progress, talk about possible new uses of it. Obviously, there's, we already know, should allow you to view parts of your OFP in a simpler format, but also things like being able to automatically fill out your destination and ILS, if there is an ILS runway, as you would normally do manually now within TFM, which is all part of the potential that this feature has, and actually apparently should be relatively easy to do according to Andy. So I would imagine the 747 is back on the way, and that SimBrief feature is also something that's coming alongside or kind of coming in the background and something to keep an eye out for. There isn't yet a TFM blog post of this week. I don't know if there will be one, but keep an eye out on the blog as always if you want to see the latest info, or indeed just to look up. I've had a couple of questions about how best to make use of all the great 7.3 stuff that we now have. And there is a lot of stuff, a lot of panels, and it can be quite overwhelming. But what it allows you to do is to follow regular 737 checklists or tutorial videos in which they're setting the aircraft up with a regular flow. So I think probably the most difficult thing will not be finding checklists or resources, but figuring out where stuff is, i.e., okay, I know I need to flick this switch. Where is that located? And I think probably one of the best ways to do that is to use the blog. So let's say you are on the stage where, okay, we're now ready to fire up the APU. You know the steps, but you don't know where all the switches are at. Okay, so if you do a find on the blog, say an NVDA find for APU, you're probably going to get several results, but if you have a look through, you should be able to find the section where that week was talking about the APU, and it'll have hotkeys generally associated with it, so you know you can use those, and it'll generally tell you which part of the aircraft it's in, which part of the tree view it's in. So that's a good way to find it, besides from having a real good look through those tree views and attempting to memorize. So it'll be one of those things where if you choose to set the aircraft up from scratch, it will take longer inevitably, and it will be a process where you'll have to learn how to do it, and it will probably eventually become muscle memory, but it won't be an easy process. But that's just how it is. You can also, of course, use First Officer for some parts and do other parts yourself. Maybe you say, I'm going to start the engines and the APU and all that stuff up, but I'm going to get First Officer to do a lot of the pre-flight stuff. Again, all fine. I mean, that's something we've been able to do for a while, and that's, a good combination. 737-900 and 900ER was released for msfs. All seems to work pretty much with TFM and First Officer, no issues. It's been used for several flights by BVI pilots, including the recent Cross the Land event on the weekend. The 900ER, of course, has the auxiliary tanks, and they appear to work. You can obviously extend the range with those. So yeah, you can get well over, I think, 3,000 miles with the 900ER, getting on for 3,200 something miles. So pretty significant considering how many passengers you can hold on as well. Doesn't seem to be an FT Sim sound pack for it yet, but I'll let you know when that comes out. And it's $20 cheaper than the 737-800. Couple of raised eyebrows at that. I'm not really surprised, I would say, because you got to remember the 900 has less variants and also is less popular, so they've got to reduce the price. Obviously, the 800 is going to sell because it's the one that everyone wants. It's the one that most real-world airlines use, but the 900 is a little bit less popular. Still popular, but a little bit less. So, knock off $20 and you're going to sell a couple more copies. So that's probably why, but I think it's a reasonable price. A lot of people in the BVI community seem to like the 900, and it does give you that extra range, and of course it's another aircraft that can essentially do, if you really wanted it to, a cross-Atlantic flight. Of course, you've got the BBJ, which can probably go even further, but you've now got this new option too. I did mention Cross the Land, which took place over the weekend, and I did actually end up doing it. I wasn't sure if I was going to. I'm not the biggest fan of the event, I'll say, but it honestly kind of won me over. It did a great job, to be honest. Especially the departure was a surprise. It was out of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I got to say, it was very efficient, very good control, allowing us to reposition, and we pretty much had full control the whole way. We had some weird issues with the control in Budapest, and some of the guys had very strange audio issues, but no, it was good, and yeah, generally I was very surprised and pleased. So that was a nice little flight, an event, and of course, Cross the Pond is now coming up for April. I believe it's on April the 1st, and I'm not joking. So it's not on April Fool's. Keep an eye out. I believe airport voting just opened actually. So if you want to check that out, go to their social media and things like that. And other than that, that's going to be it. So I will see you in next week's video. Have a great rest of your week.